Okay, so here we are, back in the lab. Lots has changed since I made the last video, but here's the rundown. I got my water chiller working. This is great. Finally got proper water put inside of it, and I managed to find some OptiShield. Okay, so I got some OptiShield, put some additive into there. I didn't use all of that amount. I only used a little bit of it. You can see the marks on the side, because this is way more than this chiller needs. So I have a couple refills. So this is all the electronics that's been pulled out of this machine that once was with a laser like this on top of it. I'll insert a photo here for comparison. That's what it used to look like. This is what it looks like now. And my shop is an absolute disaster right now because I'm just in like teardown mode. So this is all getting ripped apart. I still have to pull all this electronics out. I may just pull these out in big sheets just so it's out and done and I can say this is finished for now, and then dismantle these two things later. I hemmed and hawed and didn't know what to do, and we really wanted to keep this surface plate, but like honestly it's too damn big and heavy. I don't really know what to do with it, and I can buy a small surface plate if I need something for metrology purposes later. Yes, this is nice because it's got a pedestal that bolts onto it and everything, but like, where the hell am I going to put this? I already am running out of space in here. Where am I going to put that? So when my machinery movers come tomorrow, which I'll have some more pictures and videos of, when they deliver the next table and set the next table up, this is going to go with the big steel frame, because this is a piece of material that I genuinely don't know what to do with, or where, you know, I can't get it off of here. I can't take it off to keep it. And then if I do take it, if they take it off so that I can keep it, well, is it just going to sit in the corner on the floor for 5 years and just be a giant piece of granite that I eventually smash up with a sledgehammer and throw out? Like, it just seems more of a hassle to drag it around and keep it. And if I really need it, I can get one, and that's just the cost of doing it. But I genuinely don't think this is needed for the type of manufacturing and machining I do. I can make my own gantry out of concrete, which is what I did. Insert another photo here of that. So that's the system I built at Carleton, my university, and so that's what I actually used to do machining at the university. So because at the time I didn't have access to granite, and I didn't really want to go through the hassle of trying to buy or build one, so I just actually cast it out of high density, ultra high performance concrete. You can even insert the paper here that I used, which studies the comparison between different materials, between epoxy granite, and ultra high performance concrete. So you can kind of see why I chose to do it that way. So if I need gantries again, I'll do that. In all honesty, you probably don't need it for the most part. Obviously there's some expansion problems if you're going to build everything out of aluminum, but for the duration that I run a machining program, and the length of time it takes to write fiber bride gratings or make waveguides, it's so rapid that so far, based on my understandings and my studies, that it probably doesn't matter. So the bit of, you know, half micron drift you might have over the course of like an hour, you know, if you go down to a bride grading program that runs for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you know, okay, so that's a quarter of half a micron. So you got like 125 nanometers of drift over the course of, you know, 15 minutes or so. So it seems kind of inconsequential. It may matter for some applications, but for this it doesn't. So this is just to get back to this. This is going to come apart. That's going to be cleaned up. The second Libra has arrived. So it is here, and it's just waiting basically. This one's got problems. The TISAF crystal was taken out of it because it was damaged, so that's going to be a big thing to play with. And then this is the Libra that came off of the machine that I just showed you. And originally I was going to rebuild this Vitesse seed laser, which I obviously have videos on. And there's the power supply for it. I was going to rebuild this system, but as it turns out, this is a little more complicated. This is a bigger problem than I thought it was going to be. So it's going to go on the other table and eventually get repaired, but for now it's just going to kind of live here in its guts form. There's going to be a lot of moving and changing tomorrow. So The other Libra will end up on this table as well, somewhere here, and I'm going to build more enclosure down towards the end of the table. And all the hardware on the table is going to come off and go elsewhere. So that will be the majority of that. The pump laser in here works, tested. There'll be more on that soon. This Mantis works, the pump laser works, okay? And I see fluorescence on the crystal. All the optics are here, everything seems to be lined up. I just have to actually get it to laze. So it just requires a full cavity realignment, which is a lot of mirrors here. And I'll go over this later in another video, but this is quite a complicated thing to realign. But once it lazes, then I can seed this amplifier. So then I have the pump, and then it comes down to realigning this amplifier cavity. So I have to pump the cavity, do all the optical alignment here, seed it, do all the alignment in the stricture compressor, test the output, yada yada yada, then line this up with the output. There's tons more to do still, lots of optical alignment to go. There's a piece of that gantry. I'm probably going to keep this piece because it's small enough, convenient. I can pick this up and carry it and move it. Probably weighs about 65 pounds, but that chunk of granite over there probably weighs, oh Lord knows, a lot. And then, yeah, so I actually have the guts of another Mantis, but I don't have the optics for it. So I have the OPSL, the power supply, and all the electronics board. So in theory, I could just wire this OPSL up with all the electronics and that controller, and I should be able to drive this OPSL. Because really, these electronics, they don't really care about... the electronics don't really do much in terms of what goes on inside the Mantis. There's one little feature on one of these boards which allows you basically to have a button which oscillates the voice coil, which makes the end mirror shake back and forth for mode locking. But other than that, that's basically the only thing that's sort of relevant towards the femtosecond laser part of this. The majority of all the electronics are just for controlling the output of this OPSL. So that'll be interesting to test this and see if it lives. I have not yet tested this big Evolution back here, the Evolution 30, with this power supply, but that'll be another thing I get onto at some point. So I want to get all three of my Evolutions working. This one here, underneath this book, this guy is actually the Evolution that came out of that laser over there. And the thing is with this one is it's got a dead LBO crystal that's delaminated and cracked. So if I replace that, I think I can get it operating. However, it's not producing its full output power. It's like 2 watts right now at like 25 amps. So it's should not be running at that power. You can damage the cavity with it. So I quickly tested it, and clearly there's some issues with that one. The other one's running within spec. This is running actually above spec, so it set it to 5 watts. They get 5 and an eighth out of it, which is good. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So today is going to be a lot of just cleaning this disaster up and getting this thing ready to be dragged out and a new table to come in. It's going to give me way more space for this optics lab. And then, of course, the SF100 has moved to a cart, and hilariously, this cart is actually the top enclosure part of this, where the safety enclosure with the sliding door and everything. So the sliding door used to be on this front here. So I might actually put the panels back on this to enclose the bottom of the cart and put a shelf in there. And then I can put all the control electronics, which are still up here, put all those control electronics in there, and then this will just be its own device which rolls around, basically. And I have to attach the table to the actual frame still, but, working at the rate I can. So anyways, that's the update for now, and I'll tune back in when I have this more done.